What's up, guys? In today's episode of the HyperFast Wealth podcast, we're going to give you a recap of what we did in 2020. And what a year it was, Sunil.
What a year. Crazy, right? COVID-19, of course, everybody knows that. But, despite that, we've accomplished a lot in 2020. It's been, it's been a challenging year in a lot of ways, but it's been a great year in a lot of ways for us.
So stand by for this episode of the HyperFast Wealth Show. All right, Sunil. So big year for us, despite all the stuff that 2020 threw, right?
Craziness, yes. I mean, one of the things is we've been very lucky that, the construction industry, at least in the DMV, has not really stopped at all. In a lot of ways, it's actually gotten better. I know that permitting is actually quicker than it has been traditionally. As you've talked a lot about sales, the market overall is up. So, while it's been a very, very challenging year on a lot of fronts, I think we've been very lucky to be in the industry we're in.
Yeah, so we've done a lot. So we'll go over kind of just. I think we should break it down by kind of categories and areas.
Sure.
So first, maybe talk about the market and the impact that COVID has had to construction, to the real estate market in the DC area, and then maybe talk about a little recap or reminder about the project that we did deliver right in the middle of COVID. And,
sure.
Then I think a review of all the projects we acquired and developed. Mm-hmm. and really that's like a preview of what we got coming to 2021, because we've set ourselves up to have a huge spring and summer and next year. So I'm excited about that. And then I think we should kind of wrap up with some changes that we've made on the team, how we've grown, our systems internally to meet the demand that we now have.
Sure, absolutely. Jump in.
Yeah, so the market, I think this was the surprise to me. Like, DC has always been a good market, no matter what's going on in the market. I mean, you would agree with that, I assume.
The housing
right?
crash of 2008, that was a really, really big problem in the real estate industry. And, while DC was affected, it was maybe a 10%, correction, which is nothing compared to the rest of the country or even the outer suburbs of DC.
Like Florida, Las Vegas, 50% drops or more.
Even more, yeah.
Some of them took a while to recover, to rebound from that. And DC, it just kind of like shrugged it off. I mean, it was a little bit of a blip, but not much, like 10% in most of the good areas. Certainly the markets that we're in right now were like a 10% lesser hit. And so I wasn't really worried when COVID happened from that standpoint, because we pro forma our properties and pick projects such that we could take a 10 or even a 20% hit in the price. And I certainly didn't think that was coming. But what we really saw was the opposite of that. Markets in most of the countries did pretty well. I think outside of, the big lockdown cities like New York, San Francisco, like people were Seattle, people were fleeing some of those areas. I certainly wouldn't want to be an investor in like Minneapolis and things like that. But for the most part, real estate in the U.S. was one of the bright spots, and in our market, it went up a lot in the late spring and summer. Like we saw pretty like double-digit price increases in some areas, and that's flattened out a little bit, but it's still like less than 2 months of inventory in most areas, so deeply into seller territory.
Yeah, I think, you'd mentioned the one project that we did sell, it came to market right during the worst part of COVID, in that March-April time frame. And despite that, we were actually able to sell it at or actually a little bit above pro forma even. And so that was a big surprise to me. I thought that would be a big problem, but it ended up selling. I think kudos to your sales team that kind of adapted, and we had to do a lot of creative things to get people into the property, but it sold. And then even into the summer, when you look at like July, August, prices were actually up. We've got one that's getting close to delivering now, and we're getting so much interest on it already. It's not even ready yet. So I think, that's a great lesson in doing what you can even during tough times. But the other big point that you also alluded to is the DC market itself. That's the reason why I'm here. That's the reason why I invest personally in the DC market. That's why I'm a big believer in the DC market. Dan and we've looked at other markets, but we just can't seem to beat this market because it's just so resilient. Whenever bad things happen in the economy, that's almost in a way a good thing for us because that's when the federal government spends more money and really, aside from the not being able to go out to restaurants and things like that, the social side of it, our economy has done very, very well in the DC market.
Yeah, it certainly has. Most of our buyers for the condos that we're going to go over, they weren't affected that much. Many of them actually are in better spots now, I think, economically. So this area really did well. I think most of the country did for that part. But the DC market is just a strong market, and I'm certainly glad that this is where our business is right now.
Yeah, I've been in this market for 20 years now, the DC market, and I've been through the 08 cycle. I've been through the super high, when it really was going up before 08. And it's just, again, it's I try not to overhype it, but I'm just a strong believer in this market. And we could spend an hour talking about all the reasons, but essentially we've got the huge federal government that always is spending no matter what. We've got a very, very diversified economy, high tech, biotech. We've got NIH. It's just so much going on in this market that no matter what the world throws at us, it seems like the real estate's always good here.
Yeah, and one of the other things too that I think is going to really set us up for next year is I think there's going to be even more of a supply crunch at some point. Because Absolutely. What you had from March through at least April or June was this situation where the stock market tanks, people go to cash, people, hard money lenders start pulling their money. And the little developers, the smaller developers, I'm not talking like the guys who are doing 200 unit condos, but the guys who are doing like 5, 10, 50, and even the flippers, their access to capital got harder.
Absolutely.
Both from banks tightened up. So traditional banks, hard money lenders tightened up because they lost some of their investors. People went to cash because they're nervous, instead of equity in deals, or they went to cash because they saw the stock market go down and were like, hey, I'm going to buy the stocks on the dip.
Right.
And for the people that timed it right, they
right.
I think they did well. But the point is, it got harder to acquire projects. So what that means is 6 to 18 months later, there's going to be a lag in the supply that would have come, and I think that's a reason we were able to get more deals, which I think now would be a good time to go over all of the deals that we acquired in 2020 and put into our pipeline, and just kind of what we expect for 2021 on those.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to, we can go over to the board here and talk about all the deals that we have currently going on. My
microphone. I feel like a lounge singer almost with this.
I don't know if Dan should start singing or not, but
yeah. So let's go through and
Sure.
maybe go over the number of units that we're doing and the equity raise that we did on it, just so folks get a sense of the number of units we got coming, number of equity we've got deployed.
Yeah, sure.
So Alton, that's. Two units, right?
But two single-family homes, so two very large single-family homes, almost 7,500 square feet each. We took one lot and we subdivided it into two, so we have two homes, and that should, that's definitely on track to deliver in 2021.
I think that was a $600K raise or thereabouts.
I think that was actually a little bit more. I think
was it?
Yeah, maybe closer to $1 million, somewhere between 600 and $1 million, about 800, I think.
All right, yeah, and that one's gonna be two amazing, $3 million homes. That's gonna be a cool project.
Right here,
right there.
You can see them in the background.
Modern looking,
yep,
beautiful homes. So 10th Street.
Yeah, that's when we acquired in July, and that was where, like you said, a lot of the other developers were not able to get financing. Their equity dried up. It was, really a kind of a tight crunch. We were actually
6 condos.
Six condos. Yeah, we were actually able to acquire that one, get financing, the whole deal there.
And that was about a $500K raise.
Correct. Yep.
Capital. We got 4 units coming there.
Yep.
I believe that was $400K raise there.
Yep.
Columbia is one of our big boys.
11 units.
11 units, and they're big units too,
Yep.
right? And that was one of our bigger raises. I think it was like 1.2.
Yeah, right around 1.2 million. Yeah.
That was one of our bigger ones, and that we got the first units for that one coming in March. April.
March, April. Yeah.
And then the next 9 will be a few months behind.
Correct.
So that's exciting. 10, 17th. This is one of our bigger ones in terms of unit count,
15
right?
15 units, yep.
15. And I think that was like a $750K
Yep, right around
raise.
$750.
And that's coming, summer?
Probably May, June.
May?
Yep.
All right. Benning. 1915 Benning.
Do you know how many units? We're
9?
testing Dan.
9
Yes,
units.
you got it right. Ding. Give him a prize.
I believe we raised 700 on this.
Yeah, right. Yep, correct.
Always ends up a little higher than what the bankers tell us up front. Don't know why.
So always need more money.
And that one, Benning, we think is summerish.
That's also like May, June, somewhere in that range.
Chesapeake. This is an exciting one over near Tenleytown Metro.
Great spot near
10
Whole
units.
Foods.
10 units.
10 units. You got it. Dan knows.
Right by the
units.
Woodrow Wilson High School,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
10 units, and I think we raised about 800 on that one.
Yep. Right. Yep.
A little more than they initially told us. Georgia.
Yeah, we closed on that one just recently in October.
That was our latest closing.
Latest one. 10 units as well.
And I forget what the raise on that
was more
one
like 500,000.
500.
Our acquisition was a little bit lower on that one, so that was right around 500.
All right.
Randolph's our 3 unit.
3 units.
Yep.
Randolph. What's that one on the raise?
That was
300.
Yeah, it was like 300 to
400.
400. I would say, let's say 400 if I remember right.
So these are all the ones we've got in the pipeline. And then we've got 3 that are under contract that we'll close on soon.
Correct.
Two of them may get done next year.
Yeah, I think the first 2 are type of projects that we can get done within a 12-month cycle, and we're going to close on those first 2. 41st and 9th, we're going to close on in January.
And this is 41st is a 9 unit?
9 unit, correct.
Which was more than we initially thought when we got it, right?
Yeah, we were initially performing at 6 units, but when we got into the design phase, we realized we can get 9 actually very nice units out of it.
And what's our raise going to be on this one?
That one is going to be right around, I believe, 600,000.
600.
Yep.
And the 9th is a 6
unit, yep.
So it's going to be similar to what we're building on 10th,
Very
right?
similar project, exactly. To 10th.
Just so you know, they're not. One's northwest, one's northeast, so they're not.
Exactly. They're not. They sound like they're close, but
they're not as close as you would
they're
think.
about 20 minutes apart.
6 units, and is that 600 again?
That's
500.
Yeah, I would say around 600, maybe 500, but it'll be right around there.
And the 18th, I think this actually will be our biggest one for unit count.
In terms of unit count, that's going to be
Yeah.
our biggest, 20 units.
It's 20.
Yep, 20 units.
And I think we need a little over $1 million on that.
Yeah, right around $1 million. That one's a February close at the moment.
All right, so big pipeline here. I'm not going to try and do this math in my head, but I'm just curious what this adds up to for unit count. So we got 2 at Alton, 6 on 10th, 4 on Capitol, 11 on Columbia, 15 on 17th, then 9 on Benning, 10 on Chesapeake, 10 on Georgia, 3 on Randolph, plus another 9.
35 over there.
Plus another 6, and then 20. That gives us 105 coming.
Mm-hmm. And that, of course, doesn't count deals that we're actually looking at right now that we've got offers on. So,
and then let's see how much the equity raise is here. 800 plus 500 plus 400 plus $1,200,000 plus 750. We've been busy. Plus 700. Another 800. 5 and 4. And then over here it's another 2.2. So that's 8.2. And we also, our GPs on a 10 unit that we raised another 3.2 on. So really we got, with that one in the mix, we've got 115 with 11.45 raise. So it's been busy. People want to say you can't get work done with the pandemic and all that. You know, I would have told you a year ago. Or 2 years ago, really, when we started this, that this would be crazy numbers to think about.
Our plans are to even go much higher than that.
And we've got another one under contract, but
that's in the back burner. But
they've got to resolve. The owner has to resolve his tenant and TOPA issues.
We've got about 4 or 5 right now that we've got a few offers out. So we've always got about 4 to 6 that we're working on that are potential future projects.
So it's gonna be a big year. Our sales team better be ready. They better be ready.
115 units to sell.
They will be. They're amazing. And speaking of the sales team, I know Amy has been our lead on that, and she's grown her team. Beginning of the year it was just her and one other person. Now, or at the beginning of the year, she hired someone to join her mini team. We've got this team within the team concept, and then she's got someone else coming that's going to help on the buy side, specifically to DC. I don't even know if you've
we're growing
aware
that team,
of that.
that
so
team.
Amy's going to have 4 to start the year, and I think we'll probably add a 5th for her. Because outside of this, her and Brooke and Abby sold, I believe, I don't want to get the number wrong, but like 70 to 75, so I'll give it a number range. Outside of this, so when we plug this in plus their normal growth, they're going to be doing 200 probably next year, which will be exciting to see. Obviously, the other big change on the project management side, you do the show, you train other real estate investors, work on acquisitions, so you can't necessarily do all of that plus this without help. So big news on that front, right?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the, aside from doing all this stuff we just mentioned in 2021, is that we built our team. So like Dan mentioned, we built our sales team. We're building that out as well. Amy kind of leads that up. But on the other side, we built our production team as well. We've brought a new production manager on. His name is Sid. We've also got someone that works under him as well out in the fields. We've got a 2-person field team right now. We're probably going to raise that to maybe 3 people as well. Krista, who's our kind of our operations manager, she does all the back office paperwork, just helps us in a ton of ways working with our investors. So really we've built all these little teams that are going to help us, grow, because this is a lot. I mean, even to take on 10 projects at a time is quite a bit, and we're looking to take on maybe 20 or more at any given time. So I think that's really the thing I'm most excited about. Although we've accomplished a lot in terms of actual projects, but we built this incredible team that's going to be able to grow. In fact, just this morning we were talking about bringing a marketing person on to help us raise capital, to help us get more visibility out there. So I feel like once we start into 2021 January, we're going to have all these teams ready to go, and we're going to be able to double, triple, maybe even quadruple our amount of projects we can do.
Well, we'll save it for our next episode, but it'll be fun to look back a year from now,
right?
And see these numbers, and maybe we'll think this is really small.
I think we will. That's my plan.
Because I know if I went back a year from today. Mm-hmm. When I'd be doing a lot of erasing
right.
to show the pipeline.
Right.
If I went back a year from today, I'd be like, oh man, we didn't do anything in 2019.
Right.
So very small year. So this will be exciting. But in the next episode, we're gonna go over our goals and some of the new stuff that we've got from 2021 and why you should set even bigger goals. So make sure you tune in to the next episode of the HyperFast Wealth Show. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end. If you want to see more videos like this, click right here. And if you're new to the channel, click below to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out. And let me know in the comments what you think about the videos. I'll see you next time.